Have you ever stopped to consider that the greatest threat to your success isn't the person who openly opposes you, but the one who smiles while they slowly poison your well? You trust them, you share meals with them, you celebrate your wins with them, and then, in the quiet moment when your guard is completely down, they strike. Not with a knife, but with a whisper, a single act of betrayal that leaves you wondering how you ever misread them so badly. This isn't a tragedy reserved for a few unlucky souls. It's a pattern written into the fabric of human interaction. 5 centuries ago, a Florentine diplomat named Machiavelli dissected this pattern with such surgical precision that his work remains a forbidden manual in the boardrooms and corridors of power today. What he uncovered, the raw, uncomfortable mechanics of influence and survival, is more relevant now than ever. Yet, the moment his name is mentioned, many recoil. That's cynical, they say. That's the philosophy of the corrupt. And I'm telling you right now, that dismissal is the very flaw that makes you a target. Because the world doesn't operate on a point system where kindness earns you a trophy. It operates on a system of cause and effect, where awareness is the only true armor. Machiavelli wasn't teaching you how to be cruel. He was teaching you how to stop being naive. Today, we're going to strip away the fairy tales and look at the mechanics. Let's start with a simple question. How many times have you walked away from a situation thinking, I gave them everything, my time, my energy, my loyalty, and what did I get in return? Was it silence? Was it disrespect? Was it being passed over for someone who did far less? The answer, according to Machiavelli, lies in a fundamental split in human nature. There are those who see the world for what it is, and those who see it for what they wish it would be. The first group builds empires. The second group builds resentment. Which group are you in right now? Now, let me be clear. I'm not asking you to abandon your principles, but I am asking you to understand that there is a vast critical difference between being a good person and being an unarmed person. And that difference is the foundation of strategic wisdom. Let's consider a scenario. There's a man named Michael. He's a software developer, meticulous, hardworking, the first one in the office and the last one to leave. He believes that his dedication is a currency that will eventually pay out. He never questions his manager. He never promotes his own work. He just does the job. When the promotion cycle comes around, who gets the corner office? A newer hire, someone with half Michael's technical skill, but twice his visibility. This colleague didn't just code. He presented the code to leadership. He took credit for team wins. He made sure his name was on the lips of decision makers. Michael was good. The other guy was strategic. And the market rewards the strategic. Machiavelli wrote that the unarmed prophet always fails. Good intentions without a strategy to protect them are just an invitation for exploitation. When people hear this, they bristle. They argue that hard work should be enough. That's a beautiful sentiment, but it's a losing strategy. The titans of industry, the most respected leaders, they didn't get there on effort alone. They got there on a plan. They understood the map of human desire and navigated it. That's not manipulation. That's wisdom. This brings us to one of Machiavelli's most misunderstood concepts, the dual nature of power. He argued that a successful leader must embody two seemingly contradictory animals: the lion, which uses sheer force to confront threats directly, and the fox, which uses cunning to avoid traps. Imagine a young woman named Jessica working in a high-stakes marketing firm. She discovers that a close colleague, someone she considered a friend, has been subtly undermining her to the creative director, taking credit for her concepts in one-on-one meetings. Her immediate instinct is to confront, to rage, to demand justice. That's the lion. But a lion charging into a trap is just a dead lion. Jessica, channeling the fox, did nothing. She didn't change her expression. She smiled at her colleague the same as always. And then she started documenting. She began CCing the creative director on her initial drafts, on her market research. She created a trail of evidence so clear, so undeniable, that when the next quarterly review came, the truth was self-evident. Jessica didn't fight. She repositioned. She let the trap collapse on the one who set it. Her colleague's credibility evaporated, while Jessica's reputation for thoroughness and professionalism became unassailable. This is the fusion of the lion's courage to stand your ground and the fox's intelligence to choose the battlefield. Now, I need to say something that might sting a little. The people who disappoint you the most are rarely your declared enemies. They are the ones you let into your inner circle, the ones you assumed had your back. Machiavelli observed that a person's most dangerous vulnerability isn't a rival's sword, it's their own expectation. The moment you expect loyalty, you create a debt that the other person may not be able or willing to pay. When they default on that debt, you don't just feel sad, you feel paralyzed. You stop thinking strategically and start reacting emotionally. And a reactive person is a puppet. Let me clarify, this isn't a mandate to become a hermit or a misanthrope. It's a call to verify. Trust, but with open eyes. Love, but with boundaries. The most successful people invest heavily in relationships, but they never outsource their security to them. If your peace of mind is wholly dependent on another person's behavior, you have given them the keys to your own cage. Machiavelli called this leverage. You must always have options. Think about two friends starting a business. One, David, brings the capital. The other, Steve, brings the connections. Over time, David becomes so reliant on Steve's network that he stops making independent decisions. Every strategy is filtered through Steve's approval. Is this partnership? It's a chain, and the one who holds the key is the one who controls the chain. Perhaps the most undervalued weapon in the modern world is silence. We are living in an age of confession. We broadcast our struggles, our dreams, our heartbreaks to thousands of followers. We mistake oversharing for authenticity, but Machiavelli held a different principle, that a prince should guard his thoughts as a miser guards gold. Why? Because the more you reveal, the more predictable you become. And a predictable person is a controllable person. How many times have you shared a brilliant idea only to watch someone else execute it? How many times have you vented a frustration only to have that frustration weaponized against you weeks later? This isn't coincidence. It's the inevitable result of handing your blueprint to anyone who asks for it. The individuals who command the most respect are not the loudest. They are the ones who speak with precision, who let silence do the heavy lifting. In silence, the other party grows anxious. They fill the void. They reveal their intentions. Your ability to be a blank wall is your greatest advantage. There is another painful truth to confront. The world often exploits its most generous members. Consider a family structure. There is one sibling, the responsible one, who always shows up, always pays for the repairs, always handles the crisis. Then there is another sibling, the difficult one, who sets firm boundaries, lives their own life, and helps only when it suits them. Who is more respected? Not who is more loved, but who is more respected. Often, it's the second sibling, because their boundaries are known, their limits are understood. The first sibling, because they have never said no, has trained everyone around them to expect unlimited giving. Their goodness has become a resource to be mined. Machiavelli argued that a ruler should never wear their good intentions on their sleeve. If everyone knows you will always forgive, they will always take advantage. Goodness without the power to enforce boundaries is just vulnerability. Strength without compassion is tyranny. But compassion without strength is simply a commodity to be consumed. This doesn't mean you become cruel. It means you understand that saying no is an act of self-preservation, not selfishness. If you have ever been stabbed in the back by someone you trusted, you know the immediate cocktail of emotions: rage, grief, confusion. You replay the scenario, looking for a point where you could have stopped it. Machiavelli offers a different lens. He suggests that betrayal is not an event. It is a data point. It is information. That person has just revealed their hierarchy of priorities, and you were not at the top. You can now adjust your strategy accordingly. The emotional response, the dramatic confrontation, the public shaming is a luxury you cannot afford if you want to win. The strategic response is observation. Show nothing. Let them believe they have gotten away with it. And then, methodically, without drama, withdraw your trust, your resources, and your plans from their reach. By the time they realize you have pulled back, your position will be fortified, and theirs will be weakened. This isn't coldness, it's the reclamation of your own agency. We often celebrate people who wear their heart on their sleeve. We call them genuine, and there is value in that. But we rarely talk about the cost. When you broadcast your pain, someone is cataloging your weaknesses. When you flaunt your success, someone is measuring their jealousy. When you display your anger, someone is mapping your triggers. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler's face should be a mask, not a mask of deception, but a mask of deliberate intent. It is a tool. It can be stern one moment and warm the next, but it is always chosen, never accidental. In the age of social media, where every mood is documented, this principle is crucial. The people who appear the most controlled in public are often the freest in their private lives. They have learned that visibility is a strategic resource to be deployed, not leaked. A question often arises: does this philosophy belong only in the boardroom or on the battlefield? What about love? What about family? The answer is that the principles of leverage and leverage apply everywhere human nature exists. In relationships, when we invest too much, too quickly, emotionally, financially, we create an imbalance. The other person, consciously or not, senses they are needed more than they need you. And that imbalance shifts the power dynamic. Even here, Machiavelli would suggest keeping a core of independence. Maintain your own life, your own interests, your own mystery. This isn't about playing games, it's about maintaining your value as a complete individual. A person who appears self-sufficient is inherently more attractive than one who appears desperate for validation. It's a hard truth, but if you examine the patterns in your own life, you'll see it holds. And so, we arrive at the core. People often label Machiavelli's work as a guide to cruelty. But if you look deeper, it is a guide to survival. It is a call to wake up. The deadliest illusion is seeing the world as you wish it were, not as it is. Because of this illusion, people are perpetually unprepared. They are shocked by greed, blindsided by ambition, and crushed by their own misplaced trust. The world shows its true face, and because they were expecting a different face, they break. Clarity is the antidote to chaos. So, Machiavelli's real gift is this: open your eyes. See the machinery of influence. Accept the uncomfortable truths about human nature. And then, within that framework, navigate toward the life you want. This is not cynicism. It is clarity. Michael, the developer who worked himself to the bone, if he had understood this, he would have worked just as hard, but he would have also directed visibility toward his work. He would have managed his manager's perception. He would have built a coalition of support before the promotion was on the line. Jessica, the The marketing executive, she embodied this perfectly. She didn't react, she repositioned. And that good sibling in the family, if they had understood that no is a complete sentence, if they had set boundaries early, they would still be good, but they would also be respected. Merging strategic awareness with moral intention, that is the real lesson. In a competitive world where resources are scarce and people often prioritize their own gain, hard work and a kind heart are necessary, but they are not sufficient. You must also be wise. You must be strategic. You must be aware. This isn't an invitation to become the villain. It's an invitation to stop being the victim. Because one thing is certain, whether you study the rules or not, the rules are being played around you. The question is whether you want to be a pawn or a player. If this moment of clarity hit home for you, if even one insight felt like it was speaking directly to your current situation, then hit that like button. It's a simple act that signals you're ready to face reality. Subscribe to Winds of Thought and tap the bell. Here, we don't just scratch the surface. We go deep into the psychology, the philosophy, and the unspoken rules that actually govern your life. And do me a favor, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who keeps giving and keeps getting hurt. Give them this perspective like a gift. Until next time, stay observant, stay strategic, and stay